7 o'clock, June 20th, 2017. Call the planning board meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got lost for a second. That'd get me in trouble by Steve too when I went back to school.
what did I do?
This is agenda 5.
Yeah,
That's all we got.
No.
well. You call the roll call, I'm looking for one more.
All right. Roll call, Steve O'Connor,
Yeah.
Rick St. Jean absent, Sam
I
Martin.
don't believe Rick will be here tonight.
Okay.
Here.
Tim Otterbach will not be here tonight. Peter Zavas, not here. Bob Gillette,
He's here.
Dennis, Legendre, Roy Barron,
Ran away.
awesome. Bonnie,
Here,
all right.
before we get going with this meeting, I'd like to read a statement. And I hope I can get through it. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to make a statement at this time as a board member and as chairman. First, I wish to apologize to the public for some of the outbursts of this board. As elected by the people of this town to govern the growth of the town, it is not an easy task. We have to balance the view the people of Ossipee expressed to us and by the zoning laws that you have voted us to follow. It is always in the back of my mind as a board member, are we doing right for the best of this town? You, the public, comes before this board and tells us what you think about the cases before us. As chairman, I welcome you to express those ideas. When you are speaking to the board about your concerns, please remember that the law comes first. We must follow the law, and there are sometimes we do not have any control over traffic, wells, and septic are some of those. These books in front of me, which are right here, are what we must follow. I don't know them all by heart, so sometimes there are times when I must correct myself. When you speak to us, I will ask you to please speak clearly, as short as possible, and present just the facts of the case. To this board, when you come into these meetings, you will leave your personal opinions outside. These books in front of me are now your opinion. We have to follow the law so that your belief is the same, as well. If not, I'm sorry, but the law will not be followed by your opinion. I will not accept any more behavior as we had at the last meeting. If you cannot control yourself, please leave as to leave. When I tell you to stop, as I tried the last meeting, and you do not, as chairman, it will be my duty to have you removed, and you will be removed. We can all have a discussion about something that is brought up, but you at all times shall be civil and on your best behavior. Minutes. Everyone read the minutes?
Second.
Discussion. Having no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? We do have a quorum, by the way. Minutes are passed as read. Thank you, ma'am. Budget. We spent about 29% of our budget on labor. Telephone, 58%. Advertising, 63%. Office supplies, 47. Postage and figures, 69. I question the mileage. I like that. Because we have to vote on the mileage to expend it. All right?
I have some questions on the
Education is fine. Professional fees. Lakes Region Planning. Oh,
Can I ask a question? The legal fees, the professional fees or the legal fees?
no, we don't pay
You don't have
legal
a legal
fees.
line, the legal line's under the selectmen.
That is one, correct.
We've spent over $4,000 so far, well over $4,500 on the westward shores of the
Yeah.
taxpayers' money.
Yep,
Well, excuse me, but Western Shores paid that, right?
no,
No, the taxpayer did that.
I
no,
thought that came back.
no.
Not talking
Their
about the
professional
engineering,
fees came back.
but with the legal fees.
They haven't paid them for professional fees,
That I do not know. I submitted the
request.
request to the selectmen to pay Friends of Beach, and I sent the bill to Northgate.
Could you look into that?
Update the board on something.
I'm sorry.
Can I update the board on ski? Can I update the board on ski?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
His wife was in the hospital having a procedure, and while she was doing that, Ski had another stroke. He's not doing well. He's at Brigham and Women's. Just an update.
Thank you.
She told the selectmen.
is he back in the hospital?
He's in Brigham and Women's. He had another stroke.
Wife in the hospital still?
I don't know. I just know that she called the selectmen, and that was the report we got.
Doesn't belong here. Lakes Region Planning. Membership is $2,281. We have to vote on that to pay that, which is due this month. I hear a motion on it.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion.
What does that cover?
That is our membership in Lakes Region Planning.
Are we getting any?
What do we get for it?
We don't get a heck of a lot.
It's a lot of money.
And how much was it again?
$4,281.
It's a lot of money.
It's about the same every year.
I think we had a discussion last year, if memory serves me correct, and we decided to see what we got out of it this year. But we almost didn't pass it last
Chairman?
year.
From last year's discussion, we determined, first of all, I think that they run, do they not, the hazardous waste collection operation. That's one service that's always available.
That the town pays for that, I believe.
Well, they do provide some cost reduction, if not the direct service, I think. But that's not the only service. We're not asking from them things we could get, assistance, advice, et cetera, that would add up at least to that amount of money. And so incidental to the next item, would like to volunteer to be a representative to Lakes Regional Planning Commission, see if we can't get some useful services for our money.
I think it's a lot of money.
It is.
It's a lot to dump on tax.
We paid him $4,200 last year too.
Yep.
And Rick St. Jean is the one. Any other discussion? Take a vote. All those in favor of paying it? Those opposed? Opposed carries it.
Does that mean we will drop out of Lakes Regional Planning Commission then? And not be represented?
Correct. We are entitled to two representatives. Rick St. Jean is one, and I believe the Selectmen asked us to present another one, isn't that right, Sam?
Yes, it's in the minutes. It's on the agenda for the selectmen last night. I have it in the room.
But they asked us to nominate another person. So that we're entitled by RSAs to have two. Bob has volunteered. I get a second on here. We can appoint him.
I'll second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Passes. Mr. Sager. I think we've got to have this. Is this no correct, Laura? Out of the 845, we paid them $290. The 845, $280 they're paid.
No, we had already paid some of this. Some of this has already been submitted. I know the 280 was paid on 6/5. All we owe is the 393.02.
We have a bill from Sager and Smith for legal research and about regional notification. Bill comes to $393.03 due at this time. Make a motion that we pay it.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Motion carries. I already think on the new business. Unsatisfied. Thank you. I have a letter from Adam Riley, Chief down the corner, Ossipee corner, on Ralph Buchanan. Self-service, self-storage, which satisfies the conditional approval that we gave him last meeting, and move that we go from conditional to approval.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Excuse me.
Laura?
Nothing that Ralph, he raised his hand.
I voted.
He raised his hand to approve.
You want to be an alternate, Ralph?
I'm sorry.
He's the chairman emeritus, it's okay, you can have a vote. Yeah.
You just make an honorary member, that's all.
Okay. Oh, this is for Peter. I gotta have Peter. Case number 17-5 SPR, Ossipee Self-Storage, owner of B&D Zimmerman, FLP, agent, White Mountain Survey, application for a site plan review to develop 9 Route 28, tax map 124, lot 9, to build a 45,200 square foot new self-storage business. Asking for a waiver from the site plan scale of 1 to 20 to 1 to 30. He has received the alteration of terrain. Did you receive that from me yet, Jim? It's sent.
It's.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's,
Yeah. And we got the corner, Ossipee corner. Letter from Ralph, Adam. As long as we have it, that's all I care.
yes.
Yep. We have received the letter from the chief, so that's the application. Everybody looked at it? No septic, Jim.
No, sir.
Is there an office associated with
There is no office.
it? It's a staff light.
There's lighting up in the buildings, but that's it.
And it maintains
Move that
security.
we accept the application as conditional.
It's conditional or complete?
Conditional. Because the alteration of
AOC.
Oh,
is not there, which is there. Fire department is here. And the curb cut,
We have the curb cut.
you have the curb cut, so the only thing you're missing,
The alteration of terrain. But I don't think that makes the application incomplete, does it?
yeah, alternates must be in place.
I thought that's what the purpose of a conditional approval was the permits had to be in
Yeah, but
place.
it's also conditional of acceptance of the application.
I didn't think,
I think it's-
I didn't
I
think
think
you.
you're right.
I didn't think you'd done that in the past. I thought you've always accepted the applications as complete. You did that with Valley Point, and we don't have all of our permits.
Right.
So you normally accept the application as complete, and then you,
I withdraw the motion.
Yeah.
Make a motion, the application is complete.
Accept as.
Accept that as complete, thank you.
And seconded,
Pending receipt of permits, yes.
application's complete.
Application's
That goes in it.
I second it, I think.
Any more discussion?
I'm just curious how you maintain security if there are no people.
Wait, let's, I want to talk about the application.
On the application.
Right.
There's a
Been
motion.
made and seconded, the application is complete. All those in favor? Motion carries. Opposed, closed, no. Mr. Franz, you may present.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Subsequent to our submittal of the application, I had indicated in the, based on our experience with Valley Point, you had asked for some things like a signature block on every single plan and the notes on the front to identify the sheet. So I have a set of plans that made those kind of modifications.
For this,
Yeah, they only reflect those things because I knew once we saw what the board liked. So, and as I indicated in my cover letter, there is, we were expecting the lighting plan, and that did get received. So that's, I give that to you as well.
Revised plans.
It's the same, essentially the same plan as we got here, but they just.
Yes, they
put the sheet
identify.
numbers instead of.
Yeah, we put the sheet numbers up in there. We identified, since we got a driveway permit, we identified the permit number. We just, they were pretty minor changes, but we knew that they were based on the action that you took. They reflected things that the board wanted to see. So to orient the board and the audience, and for the record, my name is Jim Rhines, and I'm from White Mountain Survey and Engineering, representing the P&D Zimmerman FLP in their request for a phased site plan approval for 45,200 square feet of self-storage. This lot is 9 Route 28. Locally, people might recall it as the old drive-in. This is Tractor Supply here, job lots and Hannafords. So this property had received a site plan approval from this board in September 4th of 2001 for 55,400 square feet of self-storage, and it also included a manager's apartment and an office space. This is a scaled-down version. So now what you're looking at, this plan shows the entirety of the parcel, and all of the proposed building activity is right up in here. So when I flip this page over, what you're seeing is the developed portion. As I mentioned, since we submitted our application, we received the photometric plan, which I have provided you. That plan has 40-watt LEDs that are down-directed, night sky friendly. As has been noted, we have received the fire department approval, we have received the New Hampshire Department of Transportation approval, and we have submitted the alteration of terrain permit application. Those applications are required when you're going to disturb 100,000 square feet of contiguous land area. In the first phase that the property owner wants to do, they want to build this building 2 in phase 1, and they will be building all of the detention/infiltration basins for the entire project as part of phase 1. However, in this first phase, they're not going to be disturbing more than 100,000 square feet, even including those, this, and basically this whole area, as well as that. I was here before the board with a pre-application discussion on February 7th of this year, and mentioned to you that we had been in 2001 and gotten approval, and you directed me to go through the process and get our permits underway, and you didn't see any issues with it, so here we are today. As we said in the application, we're requesting one waiver, and that is to allow a 30 scale versus 20 scale, so that you can get a better sense of what's going on here. If it was 20 scale, it would be half again as big as this, and the detention, it might be 2 sheets to even show where the infiltration basins were. The storm water drainage has been designed to infiltrate all of the stormwater runoff associated with this project up to a 50-year storm event, so there is no additional stormwater runoff leaving the site. On the application, we had requested a 60-foot flagpole, and the owner has asked if it could be 70 feet. It's on note 4 of the plans. You'll see that it's says that it's a 60-foot, and just so the board knows. So that's note 4 here on sheet 2. It says location of a 60-foot tall flagpole, and
Make that 70.
the owner would like that to be 70 feet.
Is that for an American flag?
That is for an American flag, a large American flag.
170 feet?
Just, no, I think 70 will.
Have to have a couple of beacons on that.
There's no FAA requirement at 70 feet, I think, right?
I don't believe so, no. I think some of the pine trees in the area are higher.
But does it have to be guide?
I'm sure that, I'm not a structural engineer, but I'll bet that it's got to have a substantial foundation to it. I have with me this evening the general partner of P&D Zimmerman FLP, Paul Zimmerman, and he's raising his hand like he may have some information about
You
that.
asked about the base of the flag?
No, I was wondering if this thing had to be guide and grounded for lightning strikes and the like.
Yeah, it's grounded, it comes on, you have to put an 8-foot square concrete pad. It comes with a base that the pole goes into, and there's a ground rod in the concrete pad.
In the concrete itself?
Yes.
Which is part of the post that goes into the ground, yeah. All right.
Additionally, we had shown some plantings in here. As I said, this was the old drive-in theater. This is some second growth in here. Because this is a common driveway, and because the property owner who is going to be here tonight also owns the old FMC Realty place, Steve Paxay.
Milton House.
Yeah, Milton Dow's old place. He's, this common driveway will come in here. They would like to not plant this for a combination of they're going to be coming in to you for site plan approval to expand their business into here. And so the P&D's Zimmerman FLP is okay with that as long as the planning board is. And then
There's nothing there now.
it's just there's some second growth, but this is you can see the contours zigzag back and forth. That's where the humps were, where you drive your car in and it would point up towards the.
If there's already growth, you wouldn't have to replant it anyway.
Well,
I think.
it's not much growth.
Yeah, but it's been like that since before time, so.
Oh, it's been wiped out.
Yeah.
They wiped it out last week.
Oh, yes, they did. Or something, they wiped it out in here. They haven't done anything in here. So, as a result of this, the lead time for the builders who put up these structures, one of the things that they'd like to do if the board was considering a conditional approval would be to allow the concrete pad to be built so that as soon as the structure is ready, since we're not disturbing 100,000 square feet and don't trigger an alteration of terrain, that if they could get this concrete pad in so that when the building, as soon as the builders say, hey, we're ready and we come, if the slab isn't there, they'll go on to the next site. And as I think you realize from the different applications that have been coming here, self-storage seems to be a booming market right now, and to miss the window with a 360-foot long slab that's going to take probably 27 loads of concrete, there's going to be some time to get that prepared and ready.
You mean you can't put a big chute from Coleman's?
Could I ask the code enforcement a question?
I have,
Do you have a problem what he just said?
Not at all.
Yeah, that's- He's code enforcement, so if he has a problem, we'd have a problem. If he don't,
Right.
it'd be up to the board. so.
Yeah, I understand.
Question, comments?
I have,
How many units are in there?
I don't know how many units. Do you have? Paul?
In the 40 by 360,
Yes. Well, overall. Do you
No,
know?
no, just in
Or
the-
just in the 40 by 360.
well, the units are 10 by 20. So 36 on each side.
So 72 storage units.
And overall, for all 42,500 square feet, how many units do you anticipate?
Sorry?
How many units do you anticipate for the whole project?
Well, we can add them all up.
Are they all the same, 10 feet wide?
No. The building we're putting up now is 40 by 360. Building number 1 is 30 by
30 by 320.
320, so it'd be 64. And the building number 3, I think, is 30 by
360.
That'd be another 72. And the top building is
Is 40 by 260.
40 by 260, so that would be 52.
Can't have that high.
But what happens, depends on where the market goes. Historically, 10 by 20s are the predominant size, but sometimes the market trends a little bit, they might move to a 10 by 10. That's why you have flexibility in these. Instead of one 10 by 20, you might have two 10 by 10. So it depends where the market sells it.
And will you also have larger units that accommodate boats or that sort of thing?
No, well, they're 10 feet wide, they take cars,
Yeah,
but a boat usually has a beam of 8.5, 9 feet. It'd be close, but the length would be a problem, because usually it's longer than 20 feet.
Your boat trail is a big problem. I plow in the spring some of these boat places, and the tongues stick out 3 or 4 feet.
so that adds up to what, something like 200?
So there's 70 and 70 is 140. There's 210, 260.
260.
We're expecting to phase this over a couple of years, with just this first building being the first phase, and then it will be market-driven.
So you're applying.
2 years?
we can only give you
Yeah.
for 2
How
years.
about the cemetery?
Cemetery is,
Okay.
we're maintaining 25 feet. We can't excavate within 25 feet of it.
Okay, is it gonna have an access? It's gonna be,
Access is from
I don't
28.
see an access to it, or,
Yeah, I believe the access is up here. The entrance to it is here, and I believe that
It's from 28.
there's a right of way to it. I guess that's what I'm
Yes.
asking. Okay.
It goes over the state right away. It goes over the state Route 28 right away.
Comes off at 28 and goes.
and then crosses off here. And on sheet 3, we note here under cemetery note, the subject parcel is subject to a reservation of the Abbott Cemetery as well as any right-of-way associated with the same, and it refers to the Carroll County Registry of Deeds recorded in 1967.
Question about, maps, if I may? No? Do you have a question?
Go through the chairman, please. Well, this is getting out of hand.
Mr.
You want to
Chairman,
ask a
I have
question?
a question.
Please raise your hand, and I'll tell you to go ahead.
Did you tell me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. A question that may easily be misunderstood, so please don't misunderstand me. How large a flag do you plan to fly from this 70-foot pole?
You know, I just changed the height this morning from 60 to 70, and I know the flagpole, the reason we raised it to 70 is some of the trees are just about that height.
Uh-huh.
So it'll be a size that, I mean, there's only, the max I can put on it, the biggest flag I can put on it is what I like to put on it.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is this going to be what we might
I
call
would say it's
a
probably.
normal American
probably
flag
like-
or a gigantic American flag?
It was probably, I think you put the flag a third of the height of the pole. I'm not sure of that. I don't know.
1/3 the
What's the
height of the
diameter
pole?
of the pole?
What?
What is the diameter of the pole?
It's 12 inches at the bottom.
Bobby brought up.
It comes in sections. It comes in 10-foot sections. There's 12 inches at the bottom.
Right. So my question gets at is, are you talking about a very, very large flag that will become, in effect, a kind of statement?
No, not on a 70-foot pole. Some of these poles, car dealers are 100 feet tall.
Okay, so you just want to get it above the tree, up to the top of the
Up to
trees?
I won't go above the tree line, no.
Right,
I didn't want to go 80 feet. That's a whole nother game.
right. And so a normal sized flag, but high enough to see
Right.
among the trees?
Right.
Okay.
It's got to be in proportion.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at, thank you.
4.3,
4.3.
right, does not mention flagpoles.
But it says, and light structures, doesn't it?
No.
Well, says the height does not apply to domestic radio, television antennas, feed silos, church towers, water storage, wind-operated devices. All right, what's the definition of structure? See if it's in there.
Water storage structures.
Put water in. Oh,
Chimneys or wind-operated devices. I mean, I don't want to squash on it, but
is there a certificate?
it does not mention flagpoles.
The office research said it was there.
Yeah.
We don't mention flagpoles, we don't regulate it.
It's in structure, Connie.
Love seeing American.
It says a structure does not, it shall not include minor installations such as mailboxes, flagpoles, and fences less than 6 feet in height.
Less than 6 feet in height.
Fences. Fences less than 6 feet in height.
You sure the 6 feet in height doesn't apply to that whole list?
Yeah,
including
because I was
mailboxes?
on the planning board when it went from 4 feet to 6-foot fences. It was simply related to the, and there's a comma between.
There's
We do
perhaps
not
a-
regulate flagpoles at all.
There is a general 35-foot height limit, however, is there
Right.
not?
For structures.
For structures.
And this is, and a flagpole, according to the definition of structure, is not a structure.
Not a structure.
So therefore, the
we
height
don't
is-
regulate it.
So it's not regular.
It's regulated if he
I
puts
want
it
that
on
brought
you.
out now, in case.
Right, sure,
Somebody
absolutely.
down the road says, what'd you give them that for?
I understand.
Sorry, when you looked at the definition of a non-structure,
So basically,
Did you
he
find
says
the
7
word
feet on
flagpole
here,
in
he
there?
regulated himself.
Non-structure, I was reading the
Mailboxes.
He
definition.
put 70 feet on the plan voluntarily, so once he
Mailboxes,
signs
what
it,
is it?
he regulated his flagpole.
It's in the definition,
You don't put it on
oh, you're in zoning, definition of structure.
yeah, I got zoning here, just, I had it here. I lost it. Here we are.
Rob, when you speak, could you please speak so the rest of the board can hear you?
I'm sorry, I thought you could.
You were kind of holding a conversation, I couldn't understand. What did you ask him?
I asked him if the word flagpole appears in the definition of non-structures. I was trying to remember what the list of things was, mailboxes, fences,
It's on page 76 of the zoning ordinance, under structure.
76. I have chart of uses here, it's like page 76. Maybe yours is more up to date than mine.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Steve's got it.
on the definition.
Okay. Anything constructed or erected with a fixed location on the ground or attached to something having a fixed location on it. Well, okay, structures include, but are not limited to, buildings, walls, mobile homes, fences exceeding 6 feet, and billboards. Shall not include minor installations such as mailbox, flagpole, and fences or walls less than 6 feet high. I'm sorry, the way I read this English language sentence is, the 6 feet high applies to all minor installations such as mailbox,
No.
flagpole, fences.
Oh, it does, it does not include.
Go ahead and read it yourself. Right there. The last sentence under structure.
As I mentioned, I was on the planning board when that was modified, and if you look, it talks about fences greater than 6 feet in height. That's why it says, and fences less than 6 feet in height, because it never applied to mailboxes or flagpoles, but it did apply to fences, and so.
Presumably flagpoles
It
were
says
supposed to
it
be
shall
pretty
not
small and
include minor
inconspicuous.
flags.
And no one was thinking of a 7
He's trying
foot
to say it
flagpole at
does.
the time.
Have you ever seen a 6-foot flagpole?
No, but I've seen a few that are on the order of 10, and so less than 35.
I'm not sure who.
No, but I guess.
Right,
Time to close this.
Okay.
Sam,
May I ask Mr. Gillette a question? Do you have a problem with the American flag flying there?
I
on the
knew
pole?
I knew you'd ask that. No, of course I don't. What I'm trying to get at is whether this is going to be viewed by the general public as
I hope
kind
it's
of
viewed by
bizarre.
the general public.
Yeah, I understand. It's kind of bizarre if it were a gigantic flag, 100 by 200 feet or something like this.
That's their business.
That would be strange.
It's an American flag, I don't
It
care how
is,
big it
yes.
is.
Okay.
Uh,
That becomes a kind of
I know.
signage and a kind
I
of
know,
statement.
as long as
That's why
it
I'm
fits
just
under
trying
the
to draw
ordinance,
the
that's all we need to
information
know.
out. I don't object necessarily, I just want to know what they're
Bob,
planning to do.
please.
I've actually seen one. It's in Chichester. The flagpole's gotta be 70 feet high. It's got a beautiful flag on it. I don't know how, as a veteran, I think it's great. Someone might take offense to it, but it's just a flagpole. It's a beautiful flag. I mean, it's visible,
I have no,
but it's not, something that just takes up the whole.
Can we move on?
I have no qualms about it. Anyone in this audience wish to speak?
I'd like to speak in regards to the retention pond. I'm Ralph Buchanan, and my concern is Frenchman's Brook. I believe this abuts Frenchman's
It
Brook.
does.
Frenchman's Brook has a high level of sodium, and they've been monitored for quite a while. And unfortunately, in the past, all of the retention ponds, once they overflowed, the water just went right into Frenchman's Brook along with the salt in the wintertime. My question is, how effective is the retention pond from removing the salt as it goes down, the sodium as it goes through the ground and obviously down the hill and into Frenchman's Brook eventually?
Yeah, so these are what's called,
We don't use salt.
right, I know, there's a note on the plan that there's not to be salt.
You can't use salt in a metal building.
Right, and also because this is in the Water Resource Protection District,
That would have been
we put on the plans, no salt would be used. These are also bioretention, so we've got deep sump catchment basins that everything flows through to capture sediments that might have some salts or other things. And then we're tilling in because the percolation rate in this soil is fast enough that the state wants it to be slowed down, so you have to till in some soil amendments to slow the percolation rate down. And by doing both of those, the state, which directs you to try and infiltrate, they don't want it to run off. So, like, I don't know if the site plan you just got approved has any detention or not,
It does, yeah.
but and if it's been amended to slow down the perk rate so that it doesn't get flushed through too quickly and go to Frenchman's Brook, because you just drained from the other side. But that's the idea of this, is to slow those things down so that it doesn't harm it. And of course, as everyone knows, the salt is primarily from the roads, which, the bridge goes right over and they're laying it down
DOT,
heavy.
right. I understand that.
So you use what, magnesium chloride or something like that, or what? what kind of anti-icing agent would you use?
He can't hear you, Bob.
And you need to speak.
What kind of anti-icing agent would you use if not salt?
We plow it quickly. But you know, I have a building in Wolfboro, and you just can't put salt around because the water will splash up and rust all the doors out.
Right.
So we use asphalt, and that's black, and that melts quickly. And ironically, the building has a half-inch to a foot pitch, so the snow doesn't slide off the roof. They want to stay on the roof.
Wow.
And so we plow quickly to keep it clean.
Must be one good structure, all the snow heat around here.
Anything else you'd like to bring up, Jim?
No, I think I've offered everything I've got. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board or.
I have one other question, if I may.
Yeah.
On the lighting plan, does this represent the minimum level of brightness that you need for security purposes? Or is it in excess of minimum necessary?
I think it's effectively is the minimum necessary. If you look at the photometric plan, it's as it gets out along the edge of the pavement, it's 0 lumens. So
Yeah.
I think you need any less would be even less safe.
And how will you maintain security if there's no person there on site?
We have cameras,
Somebody's watching the camera somewhere.
motion-sensitive cameras.
And the same would go for a fire alarm. You have electronic notifications to somewhere? No.
Chairman, we did get a letter from the fire department.
Yes.
Yes.
Jim, you said you had a highway
Yes.
driveway permit,
Yes.
new one of the old.
The driveway permit is listed on the set of plans I just gave you. They now change it, they don't put a dash in it, and they added an A. So if you look on sheet 1, they copied in the town, so I presumed you had it. But if you look on the very first sheet,
No, I'm looking at the application.
yeah, we didn't, when I submitted the application, we didn't have it, Connie. I thought that DOT indicated that they had sent a copy to the town.
I think so.
The applicant's looking, he thinks he may have a copy with him.
I just want to make sure it's there.
I know he was interested.
I can't read.
I can run down to my office and get it if that means the difference between granting approval and not.
Highway permit, driveway permit.
Oh. Here, we have it here.
That's this one, that's the application.
Yes, this is it.
And then the next page is the permit.
No.
That was the old permit. Oh, wait, no, that's Scottsdale Properties. So
Yeah.
this is the one to
Right,
Paul Zimmerman. So it was dated June 7th.
yeah.
So if you want to make copies of that.
And Jim, you have, asking for waivers?
The only waiver is to be allowed the scale of,
Yeah, DES.
oh, from DES? Yeah, the test pits that we dug, because it kept sloughing in when we
did them for the prior application. We dug down as deep as we can, found no seasonal high water table and everything, and so we asked NHDES if they would grant a waiver. They've granted similar waivers up at in Conway, where up on the strip.
DES. This is going to DES for waivers.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Tony.
Yeah, but you just told me somebody else. So,
I was just saying that they've approved other waivers like
yeah,
that.
I understand that. But have you got a reply for that?
Only that they've accepted the application is complete.
Okay. That'll be a condition of the approval, that you get the waiver.
Yes, because I'm assuming you're going to grant an approval that would say that we needed to have the AOT permit, and they won't grant that permit if they don't accept that waiver. And if they don't accept the waiver, then we'd have to get a different piece of equipment and, really excavate an enormous hole to try and get down.
That's fine. I just trying to be above board with you.
Yep.
I make a motion. What was the?
Looking for the case number?
No.
Waivers.
We gotta give you a waiver from the 30 to the 20.
Yep.
We need a citation.
And is that in the application?
Yes, it is. The waiver has, the waiver is in the application, and it's section. It's a very long citation.
Yeah.
May I?
Please.
6.04,
6.0.
.4,
.4.
.6,
Point.
or it might be G, I'm not sure. .3.
Last is 3. So it might be G.
Yes. G.
G. Make a motion that we grant the waiver, 6.04.4.G3.3.
Second.
Made, seconded.
Second.
Roy seconded. All discussion. All those in favor? Waiver granted. Does anyone have any other questions on the site plan? He complied with everything except, let's see. Make a motion that we make conditional approval with DES's approval of the waivers and receiving of DES approval of waivers and receiving the alteration of terrain permit. And that is built within 2 years, which is the longest that we can give approval for, and all state, federal, and local ordinances and permits shall be applied.
Second.
Yes, Jim?
May I ask if the board, since the codes officer is not opposed and we won't be triggering an alteration of terrain with this first phase, would the board be comfortable putting in the slab for the building to be allowed to be installed?
I don't want to put it in the motion, Jim. if Steve feels that he can give you, the building permit, you gotta give him a permit, right, for the concrete. And you feel that you could take the chance that nobody's gonna appeal. I mean, that's a chance.
I understand.
All right. If those two conditions, I mean, that's up between you two. All right? I'd rather leave it that way, Jim.
Okay, I just wanted to know that Steve was comfortable
Well, yeah.
if this discussion, again, it being out in the open, if all of a sudden somebody
Yeah.
drives by
No,
and says, what
no.
are they doing?
I mean, I'm comfortable with him because he's the one that's tails in the ringer.
Okay?
Yeah, a further thought, and if for some reason the alteration of terrain permit were not granted, then you simply couldn't build out to the full extent that you planned, right? You could
Correct.
still build what you're
Yeah, you
planning
could
to
build
do
what was there because it complies with the town regulations. I mean, it complies with alteration of terrain, but if they thought it didn't, then we would not be able to disturb 100,000 square feet, so I think there's minimal risk.
Discussion. Sam? Discussion?
I have no problem.
May I ask for
I agree with it.
seconded?
Roy? All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, I hope we didn't give you as much trouble as Moultonville.
Thank you.
You're gonna put up a movie screen too? Gonna put a movie screen up there too?
You can rent one of the boxes for the big TV, and we'll have movies to follow away. Indoor theater, tour. I'll take care of that.
You need these back, Laura? You need this one back, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna need them back because they're gonna have to sign them for the
Later on. Jim,
Yes, sir.
appeal for today, not tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Do we need to sign a bunch of stuff now?
No, you can't sign it.
It is. This one's mine. Laura just had it.
It's over here.
Yeah, we're gonna claim you stealing ours.
Yeah.
Well, I said, don't steal the town.
Unless yours is better, leave yours, take your house. Have a good night.
Okay, you too.
We'll take care.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question, please? Are you gonna be addressing the one that
West was yours. No, because that is that is in the CBA hands. They denied the re-hearing. They did not kick it back to us. So, we have no control.
Do you need a little help, Laura, or you all set?
It's going on. Sorry you can't come.
No, this is for Mr. Buchanan anyway.
Oh,
That's my cousin.
I pity you.
We feel sorry for you, we're sorry.
Ralph, do you want anything?
No respect around here.
Yeah, we give you all the respect you deserve, sir.
That's, thank you.
Sorry,
Ralph, you don't have anything.
You're supposed to dish it back.
I'll get it after, I just wanna get
The new ones?
the new ones
That's fine.
kept together.
You've got
Move it from
approval,
the top to the,
so you only got 3 weeks to wait if you want to wait.
what do we do?
Oh, right.
You can start your site work.
Well, I'm gonna start on my forms.
Do what you can without getting real.
I mean, I'll
You
just.
have to go in.
I mean,
I'll
you
take,
know,
I'll
works.
look master.
I don't think we'll have any trouble with good
The
luck.
new ones together.
all right, Ralph.
Have a good night.
They gotta sign them. Oh,
Man, walk out of here, man.
He's a very polite man, very nice. I've dealt with him before.
Yeah, and what takes
Still on
me
camera.
off this wall,
Give me Connie. Connie,
oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Hey.
next
I just
on the
laughed like
agenda.
What are you gonna laugh at?
The large ones.
Who needs these?
Send them over, I'll collect them. The next thing is zoning, collect page.
We have two ZBAs. One case continued to July 11th, which is Broad Bay. Sent back. And they granted it one, sent back on Lemon Road. Public hearing held in the town of Effingham. ZBA again denied the motion for an administrative appeal. So it's back in the Superior Court's hands. Mr. Steve, 4.9 and 24.1.1 changes.
In regard to the trailers,
I don't know that your ordinances, sir.
we talked about this at the last meeting, didn't we?
Yeah, you were supposed to get together with
Mr. Barron.
Mr. Barron to work on
We
rewording it,
haven't to date.
so we're status quo.
We're still status quo, we're talking.
You're working on this, on the shape of the table first, is that the?
All right.
It still doesn't, this,
Rules of procedure.
May I ask one thing before we?
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
gonna change your ordinance to have some restriction on what you can do with a tent.
Dennis.
You're out of order,
Do you have any other ordinances you're wanting to bring forward at this time?
Not at this time.
Rules of procedure are in the planning board bylaws. And most of you have been here when Bill Grover used to read the whole page.
Can I get an excuse to get mine out of the office?
Huh?
Get the excuse to get mine out of the office.
Yeah, be my guest. I don't know whether everybody's had these, they should have, and read them. Or discussion. I suppose, Laura, you better. Here's that one there. Oh,
Because what you have there are bylaws, and then there's like one page that's the rules of procedures.
I don't have my knife on me. Oh,
Got mine if you want it.
yeah, they got, this is all we need copied. So just put it on the top. While she's doing that, we have a letter from Greg Howard asking, I have several questions regarding the need for site plan review for roadside commercial property. Number one, what triggers the need for site plan review? Number two, does the use of the property for seasonal operations such as ice cream stands, semi-permanent yacht sale, sale of plants or plant and material trigger the need for a site plan review. I would think that the need to ensure public safety by confirming safe egress to and from the property and adequate parking would be a concern. 3, what is the difference? What difference is there between operating a business out of a fixed structure / building versus a trailer? 4, if there is currently no process for reviewing or permitting these types of uses, has there been consideration of developing an ordinance to establish standards? I look forward to your responses. Thank you. Greg Howard, West Ossipee. How would this board care to answer Mr. Howard?
Doesn't part of that fall under the hawkers and peddlers?
No, because we do not recognize hawkers and peddlers in this still town.
If he refer,
He is selling ice cream. This is all on Longo's property, next to Subway. He has to have his health certificate, correct? Which he has. As far as we have no laws governing yard sales, no ordinances. Sale plants, we have no, or plant materials, we have none of that.
this was discussed a couple of years ago, sir.
I know, he's got safe egress right next to Subway. We don't have any control over that, that's DOT. And there's no process for reviewing a site plan review. Yes, Bob?
I suggest seems to me there are two sets of questions he's asking here. One, what triggers a site plan review in roadside commercial, period? That's easy enough to answer. We just draw on our site plan regulations and spell it out without regard to this specific case. And I'd be happy to work with you to draft a letter that answers that question, and Sam or anyone else. The second set of questions pertains to this particular site. And he's asking, in effect, does this not require a site plan review? That's a little more complicated, and, we can come up with an answer.
It doesn't.
I don't know whether it was ever given a site plan.
How long's it been there? How
Long
long's
as
it
I
been?
can remember.
I don't
Is it
remember.
grandfather? I wonder if it's before, was it before?
That would be before the late 80s.
Been there for a lot of years,
Wow.
all I can tell you. I think his grandfather at this point.
We adopted an 07 site plans.
Well, no, but our zoning ordinance goes back further than that.
Site plans right there.
Yeah, that's right, 07, I know, I wrote it.
So that wouldn't trigger a site plan if it was 07,
No.
he's been there before that, so that's the answer to
If
that
We
he
had
question.
site plan review regulations
If he
before
was there
07.
11 years ago,
Yeah,
he doesn't need a site plan because he's grandfathered.
He was there before I got married. I've been married 18 years.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, we had site plan review regulations before 07. This was a drastic revision or updating of them.
No,
Yeah, we did. They ran about 2-3 pages, the site plan review regs.
this said it was adopted
I understand.
May 15th, 2000, amended November 20th, 2007,
So, yeah,
2007.
yeah.
So
Well,
that means that these site plan regulations were not adopted until 2007.
but we had other site plan review regulations before those were adopted.
But were those adopted?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
You can prove that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we have to go back into the ancient records.
Doesn't
We
say
we used them.
revised.
Yeah, this doesn't say revised.
Well, I know it isn't, but they were. They were.
Well, you can't revise something that was adopted. This is not, you know what I mean?
Too bad Ralph has left. He would remember very well that we had site plan review, very limited site plan review regulations in place. But whether they ever apply to this site or not, I don't know. My suggestion is that we simply answer Greg Howard's question about what triggers a site plan review generically, and then dump the rest of it in Mr. Condi's lap. As to
I
whether,
don't think he's happy with that.
whether,
It's not as
he
odd.
No, it's not
complies with
his
the
check.
existing zoning regulations.
I know that's been there a long time, because before I moved back to New Hampshire, I was getting ice cream there. I've been back here 18 years.
Yeah, okay.
Is this directed at one property and only one property?
More or less.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's been in front of your board with it,
Right, there's a little bit of a witch hunt.
so.
If it don't work one place, go another place and try it again.
I think I would just answer the specific questions relative to what he's asking, and that it doesn't apply. It applies only to that.
It's out of our jurisdiction at this point.
We have no basis for requiring site plan review.
There you go.
That works.
No, we do have anything in commercial startup
Yes, sort of, yeah.
and any change in use in commercial
Yep.
requires a site plan.
As long as he stays like he is, we have no reason to bother the guy. So we should probably word it that way.
You're looking like you want to say something, Dennis.
No.
Okay.
I'll keep it to himself this time.
Pete, you got any thoughts? Okay,
His mind is tripping.
I will,
Could I see his questions again? I know I have it. I have it from the selectman's office.
while Sam's looking at that,
So his first question is a general question.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That we can answer.
So, just, I would refer him to page and whatever in the zoning ordinance.
actually, the zoning officer is the one that refers it to a site plan when they come to you. So, I guess we dump in your lap.
I would think that 3, what difference is there between operating a business out of a fixed structure, building versus, fixed structure / building versus a trailer, would depend on the individual application, individual application of the business.
Well, the
Not
10,
application.
the 10 across the street ran out of a tent and a trailer. Because he stored his stuff in the trailer.
Right.
But trailers are in our zoning as a structure.
But it's also it's not, I mean, it's an individual. This is not, you can't apply this overall, number 3.
No.
You have to apply this on an individual basis.
Yes,
Could I ask you, as a zoning officer, what's the problem with the area? Is he in violation of some code, or? I noticed it's all cleaned up from what it used to be.
Yes, he cleaned everything up, no questions asked. Cost him quite a bit of money. He's had equipment in there and cleaned it up. Greg Howard does not want to see it there.
It's
Black and white.
Much more respectable than what it was. It was
Oh,
also-
I understand that.
So I was wondering.
I mean, that site and across the street, excuse me, which he owns, has kind of been a sore spot for years. He's a very hard man to get a hold of. And he is done by right up in there, and he also owned where the kennel is. where they rip down the kennels. He's very responsive to that. Right?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, the man, I know the man, and he's very reasonable. And he's in Massachusetts more than he's up here. But if you catch him and you point out to him and say, John, look, this has got to be cleaned up, or can you do that this way? He'll look at you and say, yeah, okay. You know.
He's been there since the days of Weed, which goes back in
I
the
mean,
seventies.
the man had a, I won't say, I don't want to get into that.
Time and place.
This gets into a personality problem. Planning board meeting procedure.
I sent you some from another town, did you get them?
Yeah.
They were excellent. We could pick and pluck from that. Can't think of the name of the town,
As far as, we were criticized in the paper for Rick St. Jean being, sitting at the table. And Laura and I looked up some stuff tonight. And the statute that she referred to, 673, semicolon 11, refers to raising an alternate member. And if you go back to 673, semicolon 6B, an alternate member of a local land use board may participate in the meeting of a board as a non-voting member pursuant to rules adopted under RSA 676, semicolon 1. So he can sit there and he can partake in the discussions, but he cannot vote on any alternate. So I want to bring that out now and get it over with. You two found them?
676.
676?
676 was one.
676.
673.
673.
673.
673, 11 is how he is raised to voting status. 673, semicolon 6, semicolon B, is that he may participate.
In the discussion.
Ken,
Right. Yes.
Thinking back my 10 years of history, we had discussed this issue long ago before, and our understanding was that it's up to the board whether we want the alternate to sit with us or to sit in the audience, and certainly they're able to join in the discussion, but of course they're not voting unless they've been raised to voting status. So my understanding is that it's up to us whether we have them sit at the table or not.
We've always had him at the table, my
And
man.
it's long established custom, actually, we've never.
But it was raised in the paper.
Yes, I realize that. I read the
And the
newspapers too.
municipal association verified that he could not participate,
And he can.
and he can.
He can, yes. He can.
And
And he can sit here if we wanted to.
He can.
he
No.
can, and he can participate, but he cannot vote.
Right.
And everybody on this board has always understood that. But I don't know where she got it from. But it was brought up in the paper and I want to straighten it out now before anything else goes on. Now we will go to the procedure. Everybody's looked at it. Do we have any suggestions, questions? Mr. Hollywood?
Lights are too bright.
I know you forgot your glasses.
Yes, and these are prescriptions, so. Oh, darn
Peter,
it.
I've served with you long enough.
Are you driving home?
I told myself that the first words that I would utter at this meeting were gonna be something along the lines of. And that's my impression of Donald Duck, by the way. So, impersonation of Donald Duck.
I sent it to the Disney Studios.
The only other, I would say between the call to order and approval of minutes, I would say the pledge.
Pledge should be right after you call the meeting.
Yeah.
Question arises, if we had more than one alternate, you can have up to 5 alternates.
Correct.
Which we will never do. But if we had more than one alternate, would they both be sitting, or all 3 of them be sitting at the table with us, or
If there was room.
if there was room?
We had 2 before we used to sit at tables with us, but we haven't had 2 in a long time.
Right.
We
That's
actually
what we keep
need
on.
more alternates.
And we're running away.
But when the chairman raises an alternate, the senior alternate gets raised first. So if Peter was an alternate, Steve was an alternate, but Steve has been on for a year. Peter been on for 2 years, I would raise Peter first.
You wouldn't rotate?
No, because the RSA, I believe it refers to senior,
Senior alternate.
the senior alternate. Yes,
No, the alternate is named by the selectmen. It's not
no,
given by
we,
or us. But does he fall under the same rules as,
If he's
for
an
the planning
alternate
board
to the,
members? In other
for the
words,
selectmen,
wait a minute.
Go ahead, Dennis.
An alternate is picked by the planning board. He is appointed by the selectmen for each 3-year term.
Okay, but my question is, I kind of read in the RSA, basically, even though he is appointed by us and the selectmen, he still falls under the same guidelines as us being
Yes.
voted, right?
Yes.
He can't be removed by the selectmen or anyone, he has to go through the same processes.
If you wanted to, if the selectmen wanted to remove him, they would have to have a public hearing.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. The
They'd have to
process
have-
would be the same. Okay.
Be the same if we needed to replace ski, we would have to have a public hearing, and there are 3 definite.
Well, that's the way I read it, but I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yes, well,
there's a separate issue, and I believe Rick is also nominated or named by the select board as alternate for the selectman's representative, if the
For the
selectman's
action.
representative is not present.
Correct.
So he has both hats. Just to clarify that we don't name that, the select board.
I thought that was only, well, Frank
no,
was out.
No,
No.
in case I can't make it, because.
That is for 3 years.
Goes on.
they appoint him for 3 years.
You're talking about Rick
Yeah,
being this, yeah.
Connie, where it says, if any member is not present, the chairman will raise an alternate member to voting status. We could add a sentence here that says, the alternate or alternates may sit at the table with voting members and join in the discussion, but may vote only if raised to voting status by the chairman.
The law
It's already
says that.
state law.
It's already state law.
It is, but,
We don't need to add it.
okay. Well, it's unclear in the state law whether he can or cannot sit at the table, but I say we've always done it that way, so why not?
Well, I interpret
The procedure for the hearing may request to speak if the subject is listed as a public hearing. All our meetings are open, and
There's a difference between that and a public hearing, though, isn't there?
no, not really.
Yeah,
Public hearing, you are going to rule on an application.
Right, but it has to be posted, public
You
meeting.
post a
doesn't-
public
Correct.
hearing.
Correct. But our meetings are posted too.
But they're not posted public hearing.
No.
There
But
is a
you don't
difference.
have a public hearing unless you have an application.
So there is a difference.
Then, yeah,
There is a difference
So-
between the only time,
We hold public hearings within our public meetings
right,
Yes.
on the applications that come
are
forward.
they governed by, I have not fully delved into that, are they governed by different rules, public hearing, public meeting?
I do believe they are. That's why it says here, members of the public may request to speak if it's listed as a public hearing. We don't
Right.
list it as public hearing unless we have one.
a public hearing, you notice, is, one is an application, two is a butter status. So that you have to notify about it. Publication of that public hearing. So, if we didn't have anything on the agenda tonight, as a public hearing like Zimmerman,
That wasn't, was that a public hearing? Or just
That was a
public
public hearing.
Was a hearing, was noticed?
because it was a site plan review.
Oh, right.
That makes it public.
I'm just trying to get my ducks in.
Anybody could have come in and talked.
Yep.
Now,
But let me ask you a question.
now, we are in a public meeting now,
Right.
because that hearing is over. We gave our decision.
Did you close the public hearing?
You don't have to, by giving your decision,
It closes it.
it closes the public hearing.
So,
And now, if there are people like that woman came up to me, Ralph's cousin, and asked me a question, she could have asked it from the seat,
right.
and I would have recognized her. So if there was a bunch of people here and we're talking about this, and they wanted to put their 2 cents worth in, I would turn to the public and say, would anybody like to comment?
So,
And so you're in a public meeting,
right, I get it, I
Okay.
understand. So, but my question, and I have a question about public hearing. So when you have a public hearing and you open it up to the public for questions and comments, and then you close it to the public for questions and comments, then that should stop the discussion on that, am I
It
correct?
does.
So
No.
you simply close public input to
Can
the
you
discussion.
let Connie answer, please? Thank you, go ahead.
when you close the public, in other words, I ask for
Input.
public input, and I say, okay, that's enough, we've had enough public input, that closes the public off. Then we go back to the board,
Right,
and sometimes we'll go back to public input if someone on the board raises a very good question.
but then don't you have to open public input again?
That's what you do,
Okay,
is you say,
okay, so
it's
now.
like, Sam, it's like Rick says, public input at the beginning of the meeting. Then you have your meeting after public input.
Right,
Then
I'm
he
not
asks,
talking about that, I'm talking about strictly public hearing.
no, it's the same idea. He asked for it at the beginning, and he asked for it at the end. In a public hearing, we do not have to ask for the second input, but you must ask during the public hearing, one session of public input.
Okay, so let me go a step further. So once you close the public input to the public,
Yeah,
can we allow these people to continue to ask questions even after we close the public input?
at times, yes.
But we don't have to.
We don't have to,
No, and I think we ought to
but
stick.
we're most of the time when that happens, it is a very emotional hearing. Westwood Shores, Johnson Gas, Valley Point. Very, very emotional. And I felt that if I cut that public out at that point, that the comments would come out, you won't listen to us.
But you can fall back on the fact that you followed the RSA. You closed the public input.
Right.
And that was, and at the you opened the public hearing, you opened it to public input, you closed public input but not the public hearing so the board could continue to discuss it.
Right.
I think once you stop that public input, you should stop it, whether it's emotional or not. We have followed the rules like we say
Oh,
with
I
everything
understand.
else.
Right.
And I think it would save a lot of the emotion.
Well, the problem that,
It follows the law when you do it that way.
I understand that, but Corey Lane brought out a point that we advertised April 18th, that it was continued till whatever the date was. May 2nd, we were gonna listen to Mark and go over it and discuss it. And that the case would be continued to the 16th.
Okay.
So, we continued that public hearing,
You continued the public hearing, but you had closed the public input.
but
No?
the public hearing was still,
That's right, you're absolutely right. The public hearing was still in session, but the public input was stopped.
If I could offer a counter.
I've been party to this for 14 years, and I know that when you stop the public input, you stop the public input. You can continue your public hearing and the board continues to discuss it, but everybody's had their opportunity at public input.
I'd
And
like
it's
my
been no,
public input now.
can you stop, interrupt? You
Wait,
make me-
what?
Why don't you bring your discussion to a close so someone else can have a chance to talk?
we will.
Thank you.
So when, I mean, I've been, with several of these, Connie, as you know. And so when they close public input, they close it public input. But the board can continue to go on and on and on and discuss it.
I just, between Westwood Shores and being sued because of Westwood Shores, and the last meeting of Valley Point, I put a stop to it because we'd heard everything, period. And that's the only reason it was continued. Yes, Bob?
I completely agree with Connie that the chairman needs the discretion to reopen public input if other issues arise and emotions really need to be vented and people have useful things to say. The chairman needs that discretion to open and close public input as he sees fit.
And I don't think that's fair to the applicant. I think the applicant has heard the public input, and Jim Rhymes sort of lightly glanced on that. I thought you had closed the public input.
I agree with her. Once you close it,
I
it's
think
closed to
that,
public.
I think that people get, you're right, people get very emotional. They're emotional about the situation, about what's going on. We here, sitting behind this board, have to follow the law.
I understand
So
that.
I think when these things get so emotional that we're better off, in a legal standpoint, if we follow the rules. And that's not my public opinion, that's, that's
Connie?
looking at,
Yes, Steve.
Is anyone suggesting that we don't listen to the public?
No,
No.
Okay, because I, for one, see no issue with getting more input from the public. And I think it's our duty to them as elected members to get their input. That's who we represent.
Yeah, we do.
It's we're talking about two different things. I have no problem with public input. I'm talking strictly about public hearings.
I completely understand that, and I sat here very quietly, listened to your discussions, and it went on much longer than it really needed to. And in all honesty, if it's closed and then it's reopened, I think that's something this board can do. And if you're talking legally, I think you can get in a lot more trouble by not giving someone their say in this forum than by trying to shut them down. That's my 2 cents.
I understand where you're coming from, Pete. I understand where Sam's coming from, and Bob. I think it should be left. I found at the last Over Valley Point that there were only about 2 people in the whole 5 hearings that we had that spoke each time. And there was a lot of input all the way through from everyone. And that is the reason why I kept it going until the point where they, I wouldn't say got me frustrated or furious or anything, but they started trying to tell us how to apply a law that we have no control over, namely DOT and DES. And that's when I threw my...
And I completely agree with you. Because at that point, they were trying to dictate to the board how to handle the issue.
A continuation, and I believe one person was
Sincere?
sitting there saying, well, I've studied this for 60 to 70 hours. Okay, you watched all the hearings, and in every hearing, it was brought out that we had no control over the roads. But yet he insisted that we had control. And that's when the repetition, that's it. So, yes,
I would rather we give everybody a chance to voice their opinion than to cut off someone and have someone leave this room with a feeling that this board doesn't care about how I feel. I understand we're gonna have people once in a while that are gonna be frustrating, and then I think that's where the chairman can step in and say, just close it. But I think in situations where we've closed it to the public, we're discussing it, something comes up that's new, and someone in the audience would like to have something to say about it, I really think it's input that we should hear. We may not use it.
we may not agree with it, we may not,
Pertain to it,
but
but that person feels that it does, and if they come here, give up their time to come here and be here for the meeting, I think they should be heard, if they have something to say. I agree with Peter, we need to hear them. They have to feel like we're listening to them.
well, I mean,
And it's important that we do.
like I said there, I'll accept
I have no
any-
problem with the way you've been conducting it. but-
No. And maybe Valley Point's not the best example to be using, because there was a lot
Well,
of
Valley
other
Point-
things that were occurring at those meetings, personal
Valley
attacks.
Point and Westwood Shores are both more or less thorns in our side. FEMA sits there and says Valley, Westwood Shores, that's the best situation for a floodplain. ZBA puts us in a position that we have to give Valley Point their business. The only thing we can do is try to put enough restrictions or whatever, conditions, and whatever you want to call them, that this board's satisfied that we've done everything we could. And I believe in both cases, the architects, civil engineers, all did a great job. Westwood Shores, and I'm going to bring it up now, that whole section on septic, can't go here, can't go there, should be eliminated from our ordinance for the simple reason we don't have control over storage. Septic systems, we don't have control of them. DES has to issue based on the plans. And they send them to Steve, Steve looks, okay. Town gets a copy. So I think that should be eliminated. And to sit there and freedom tell us that we made a mistake. We didn't make a mistake. DES is the final say. And that was one of the stipulations in their approval, was that you gotta get DES's approval. We have no control over it, we can't deny it. So, we kind of got off the subject, but I think the rules of decorum applies to this board as well as to the public. And number 4, we've changed that. Used to be anything, I don't know, you still got it. Yeah, any other business may come before this. I don't feel that I should, or the chairman should sit there and say, no, you can't bring it to vote. We are elected by the public, and if somebody from the public comes in and wants to discuss something, and it's not on our agenda, please feel free.
Well, we did change that. You made the motion for that.
Yeah, I did. So, I mean, we could take that out.
Yep.
And we could add calls to order and then pledge of allegiance. Other than that, I think we've kind of.
You just add what you did, your motion to that, what may come before the board, so it's on there.
Oh, and, no, we just eliminate that.
You don't think we gotta put it on there? I know it's on our minutes every week. but-
No, this is a procedure.
Oh,
We
okay.
just knock that
Just
right
take it
out.
right out then, yeah.
Then we add in pledge of allegiance.
I'm sorry, what are you looking at?
Just
Number 4, items not on the agenda, issues not on the agenda.
Right, but you're suggesting that if somebody does want to come in and raise an issue that's not on the agenda.
It
you're
is
welcome.
already on our
It's
agenda.
on, we already changed the rule, remember they can't.
Remember,
It's already
it
on the
says
agenda.
here,
Yeah. He made the motion, I think I actually seconded it, I don't remember.
any other business which may come before this board, meaning,
Right. I think that should be reflected in our rules of procedure, that we have that on the agenda. What's on the agenda reflects our rules of procedure. Let's
Well,
not take it out
I
of
could
that.
just change number 4 to any other business that may
Right.
come
Yeah,
before.
it's not doing any harm, yeah,
Yep, that's what I said before.
right,
Just change that and put the pledge of allegiance up top.
yep.
and that eliminate that, or minor site plan.
Yep.
That we all, the only thing we have to do is tell whether it's in phase 1, 2, or 3. And most of the ones that we have come in are in 3. So I would just eliminate that from minor site plan review. Because site plan, we actually have 4. We have level 5, minor, major, first, which is voluntary, done. And most people just come in for an informal like Jim did in March with this project he just brought up. Then a mandatory or a final, and then you have amended. So I think that we just, you know,
Here's the question, do we need a public hearing to amend our rules of procedure?
For this right here?
Yeah.
No. No, this is something we drafted as a board just to give us direction.
This is board business.
Yeah.
It's just our own guidelines.
That's our
It's their own
own.
guideline. Because when we changed number 4, we did a public hearing.
Yeah.
We adopted it
we
2,
adopted.
3 years ago, right at the meeting.
Yeah, I based that on Freedom's or Madison's. Freedom's, says it on the bottom of their public notice of what they're bringing up. So, I think that we've more or less covered everything. Unless somebody else has got
Public input.
something else that you want to bring up.
If not, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Almost. Motion made.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a nice meeting tonight, folks.
Good. Johnny, I would commend you on the way you ran the Valley Points and the Western Shores also.
Would you pass me your thing, sir?